Hi guys, and welcome to Just So Rare. In today's video, I just want to reiterate the importance of research playing So Rare, especially on a smaller budget. I also want to quash the myth that you can't win cards either playing with a common goalkeeper, obviously in the rare team, and I would argue on some game weeks you don't even need a goalkeeper that's got a game and is going to play. Obviously, it's harder to achieve, but it's not impossible. As you can see with this team here, which is for this game week that's going to finish in the next 2-3 hours. Had Lars, my goalkeeper, had a game this week, and if he had kept a clean sheet, all ifs and buts I know, you could potentially, well, I could be potentially looking at a tier 0 card for this game week, which would have been absolutely lovely. However, I'm delighted with a tier 2. Because in all honesty, prior to the game week starting, I wasn't confident at all about any of. I only entered two teams, both All-Star Division 4, one for the common and one for the limited and one for the rare, and I had no confidence in any of them, if I'm being truthful. But that's the beauty with So Rare in football; you just never know. Some of these players, like Thomas, they were home to Salzburg, so I wasn't expecting him to either score or assist. I thought they were going to get hammered, and especially when they went down to 10 men after about 50 minutes. But they held on for a nil-nil, and he scored reasonably well without a decisive score. So delighted with him. Martin Valiant, again, they lost 2-0 at home to Sociedad. He's done well. Diego Valdez, he's just quality in my opinion. People, if people know who Hani Mukhtar is, who plays for Nashville in the MLS, he's the Mexican version of Hani Mukhtar, and in my opinion, Valdez is twice the player of Mukhtar in real life, not in terms of the scoring on So Rare. And Gorian, he's just a class act too. So I just want to show you how, for as little as possible, what it would cost roughly to get a similar side to this one that I've used this game week, obviously excluding goalkeeper. So, for example, the first one, Martin Valiant, he plays for Mallorca in Spain. They're struggling. They're about fifth from bottom, I believe. And if you look at his score chart, it's not great. But you've got to be realistic because his limited card, even now, would cost you £8 too. Now, other techniques that I've put in my video, SofaScore, where there's other stats, I've taken that into consideration prior to purchasing him. And I'm aware there's some game weeks, even when they get stuffed or heavily beaten, well beaten, he's capable of posting a good score because he's good at tackles, good at interceptions, etc., etc. So for £8, to have a defender like him is value for money, in my opinion. Now, if you've got a budget of £50 to buy a defender, obviously you're going to pick up better players than him. However, just bearing in mind, on any game week, any player can score 100. Obviously, it's very unlikely with the lower cost players because that's why they're not as expensive as others. But that's just football. Anyone can do it. So, if you, again, going back to SofaScore or whatever site you use to research, if they've got underlying good key stats, then potentially one game week, if it all clicks, then they could score a massive score, regardless of how crap their team they're playing for. So just bear that in mind. So I use two midfielders in this team. So the next one is Diego Valdez, who's roughly, his last 3-day average is £33. I know because I own both of his cards. He's had a massive, well, I say a massive spike. He's had a decent spike of late in his price because obviously he's scored and assisted in the last two games. So even if you use today's price of 33 pounds, sorry. So there was 8 for the defender. Oops. 33 for Valdez. I'm just keeping a running total so I can show you the cost of it. Now, like I said, Valdez, for me, if he was playing in a, and this is what I will always argue until the cows come home, if he was playing in Spain, France, and had the same record as he has in Mexico, in my belief, he'd be 5 times more expensive than that. It's just people don't realise the value outside of the top 5 European leagues. He is an absolute monster. If you look at his career stats, he will always score an assist. It's as simple as that. He's a class act. Pump over. So the next one is Fernando Gorian. He's an ex-teammate of Diego Valdez, because Valdez has now gone on to Club America. Gorian plays for Santos Laguna, and as you can see, he would cost about 20 quid to buy as a limited, obviously. So there's 3 players so far. Him again, and I noticed last night he took a penalty in their 3-2 win. So I'm not 100% sure he's on penalties, because I know Brian Lozano from Santos would generally take them, but he had been taken off by the time they were awarded the penalty. So had it happened 20 minutes earlier, would Gorian have taken the penalty? I'm not 100% sure, but it's something to keep an eye on. This guy, on his day, as you can see, he's capable of scoring big scores too. And I've watched Santos quite a few times, and he's one of their better players for sure. Finally, my striker, Thomas Goigin, I don't know how you pronounce that. Thomas, I'm just going to call him Thomas the Tank. That'll do. He plays for Lask in Austria, and like I said, they were home to Salzburg last night, so I wasn't holding much hope for him, to be honest. But if you look at him, about 43 quid his last 3-day average. So my team of 4 outfield players cost £104. Actually, before I go into the cost, I just want to talk about this guy because, again, do your research, look at his goal and assist history. He's classed as a striker. He's not what I would class an out-and-out striker. He plays more of a winger, more of a creative sort of player. He's not going to bang you in 30 goals a season or anything like that, not in my opinion. He's not that sort of player. However, he will chip in with goals and assists a lot of the time. Lask have been poor this season, and possibly they could finish in the lower half of the Austrian league, and it splits into 2 like they do in Scotland. So you could argue he could be a steal because he's going to have games against the easier sides in the second part of the season. So again, just take that into account too. So going back to the cost, you will see those 4 outfield players have cost around about 104 quid. Now, I don't want to be blasé. £104 is a lot of money to a lot of people, and it is to me. So when I'm shouting out numbers of 100, I fully appreciate it's a lot of money. However, if you've got a spare 100 quid, 150, whatever the amount is, and you want to build a team, this is what I look for. Again, keep away from the top 5 European leagues because prices are inflated for me, because people know who they are and they just want to own them, and they don't take into account certain things that I would in terms of goals, assists, just general scoring. And just quickly, that is my game week for the week before, which was another tier 2 reward. And again, that team wouldn't have cost, obviously, the goalkeeper, excluding the goalkeeper. That team is not going to cost you hundreds of pounds. My reward for that game week was 100 quid player who I've now sold on. So you could argue that team, other than the goalkeeper, is being paid for just by winning that tier 2. Anyway, guys, I've gone on enough. Thanks very much for watching. If you're entering game week 250, best of luck to you. See you very, very soon.